Hey everyone, welcome to today's Program Yourself Thin podcast. Today we're talking about how long will it take for you to reach your goal weight? That's the big question that you're probably think about all the time. Um, so how long will it take? Well, it depends. I could never answer that question for you. No calorie calculator in the world could answer that for you. No weight loss specialist on the planet, personal trainer, dietitian, doctor, no one on the planet could answer that question for you. We don't know how long it's going to take. But the bigger question is, why do you care? Because if you stop thinking about how long it's going to take to get to your goal weight and replace that focus with how long can I stay at my goal weight? How long can I live at my goal weight? Hopefully that starts to take up more of your attention and focus, because how long it takes us to get there should pale in comparison to how long we stay there and how amazing it's going to be. And again, we kind of tap into this mindset a bit when we go to college, right? If you went to school, if you ever, took a trade class or committed to some long-term thing, you made a long-term commitment to something that was going to serve you even better in the longer time frame. And if you can start to think about your weight in this way, it is very clarifying and freeing, because you've been conditioned to be obsessed with how long it's going to take you to get to your goal weight, that it starts to feel like it's never going to be fast enough. No matter what you do, no matter how much weight you lose, it's never ever fast enough. And that impatience, and within that frame of impatience, the ability to tap into a complete and total sense of discouragement and frustration so that you quit, is one of the main reasons people are struggling with their weight. So if you got rid of the time frame of how long it'll take you to quit, and to this I give you, Tony Robbins used to ask this question all the time: how long would you give your child to learn how to walk? So how long would you let your kid kind of mess around with walking, before you said, you know what, forget it, you suck at walking, you're never going to walk, you're done? Right? That's a funny question, because you would never get to that point. That's not how you frame learning how to walk, right? You frame it as, we'll just keep doing it until you get it. Riding a bike, how long do you give yourself to learn how to ride a bike? How long did and so when you look at things, how long did you give yourself to learn how to read and write? So when you put an arbitrary time frame on something, it sets you up for failure, because now all of a sudden you start with the conversation about how slow it's going. Is it ever going to happen? Is it worth it? It's the wrong mindset. So how long it's going to take, who gives a shit? Who cares how long it takes? What if it took you a year? What if it took you 2 years? What if it took you 5 years? But then you figured it out and you were at your goal for the rest of your life. And I like this as a thought experiment. Would you, if it took you 5 years, would you put the work in and effort to do it if you could live the rest of your life at your goal weight? Would you? Most people wouldn't, because most people have been conditioned and trained that if the weight loss doesn't happen quickly, and I can't get excited about the weight loss falling off and get there fast, I'm not interested. I only want fast weight loss, or leave me alone. And you might find that you've been unknowingly trapped into this mental prison of only being aware of fast weight loss. And I'm telling you, it's setting you up for failure, because the faster you demand the weight loss happens, it affects so many different things that all lead you towards failure. It causes you to choose extreme plans. It causes you to feel discouraged and frustrated. It's not going fast enough. Anytime you make a mistake, it feels catastrophic, and it sets you up for failure. And again, everything big that you've done in your life, everything big you've learned or accomplished, has taken longer than you thought, and you're happy that you put the time and effort into it. And your weight will be no different. And it starts by changing your mindset so that you start to focus on the real goal, which is not to lose the weight. It's to live at your goal weight. And those are two totally different things. And if you start putting your focus on living at your goal weight, who gives a shit how long it takes to get there? Because how long have you been trying to lose weight for? And I bet your answer is more than 5 years, more than 10 years, probably more than 20 years. So what is your rush at this point? I understand the rush in the beginning. I get it. But at this point, is it not time to take a breath, step back, reflect that it's been a long time? Okay, I'll just do the work. Let me just figure out how to master my weight. Let me master my mindset, my lifestyle, my eating, so I can live at my goal weight forever. I'm not in a rush anymore. It's been 20 fucking years. What am I rushing for? Where's the rush? So I hope that you can start to think of it this way, because this is the mindset that you've used to accomplish everything big in your life that you've accomplished and learned. And this arbitrary time frame we put on big things that we want to learn, it causes all kinds of problems. I'll leave you with that. So if you want to go deeper into this mindset I'm talking about, though, click on the link in my bio. Go get the hypnosis session I give you. Watch the video I made. I'm here to help you. All those things are free. Go check them out. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask them, because that's what I'm really doing here. Trying to help you all out with your specific situations. Give you a different perspective. So Melissa, thank you for your words. You're welcome. You are welcome. What's up, Kelly? Kelly says, I'll put in the work because now I actually enjoy the work. Yes. And I don't expect to do it perfectly. Thank you, Jim. Yeah, you're welcome. And Kelly's in the program. So again, she has a completely different take and mindset about this whole thing. But I love what you say there. I love that so much that I actually enjoy the work. I think that is, that to me is what we're doing here. I love the work too. I love it. And I don't think a lot of you dieters could make the same statement and believe it and be true. I don't think most of you dieters love and enjoy the work of dieting, of working out, maybe if you stick with it, but very few people seem to enjoy the work of dieting, which is why most people don't stick with it, which is why most people struggle with their weight. So again, it's not about, oh, here's the perfect plan that makes you lose weight. It's about figuring out what's the perfect plan for me. The perfect plan for you not only gets you the results you want. You've got to have more criteria. That's how you get from dieting to weight mastery, is you need more criteria in your evaluation of the perfect plan. And dieters' only criteria is, will I lose weight quickly? That's the only criteria dieters use to choose a plan. And so if it helps them lose weight quickly, fine, sign me up. Yeah, but you're going to be miserable. I don't care. I'm losing weight quickly. Fine, I'll be miserable. No, you won't. You're not going to be miserable for long. Why do you think y'all don't stick to your diets? Why do you think? It's not a trick question. You're not going to do shit you don't like. So I just see Katie down 2.3 overnight. It's so funny. Isn't it funny, Katie? Now, to Katie, I say, now we use this though. Okay. This is prime programming time. Remember I said to you yesterday, the conversation we're always engaging in intentionally, by the way, because a lot of times we're running away. Oh, leave me alone. We change things. We say, hey, where are you at? Hey, right? Because if 3 pounds come on, it's like, right? So when it goes down, let's do the opposite. Hey, where'd you go? Hey, I want to talk. Let's talk about this, right? So now you're 2.3 down. And I'm joking about that piece of it a little bit, but the point of it being that we're using that's because again, there's a negativity bias, right? So scale goes up 3 pounds, right? Nervous system, activated. So you don't have to work at remembering the 3 pounds up in a night. That'll stick. Okay. The 2.3 down in a night will not stick as firmly. You will forget that by next week, if it even takes that long. So we always have to remember that with our brains and our bodies that we have, that we always remember negative shit more powerfully than positive things. We acknowledge that and we work to balance that. I talk about cognitive biases, which it is a cognitive bias, but it's a biological bias. It's a human bias, let's just say. The way we are biologically, biochemically, neurologically, all this other shit, is that the negative stuff's just stronger. So it's a natural bias that will remember the negative stuff more. So we need to, with our strategy, seek to balance that out a bit. And one of the ways we balance that out is when the 2.3 comes down, is I really hold on to this. I put it in my bucket of like when I put 3 pounds on and I freak out. I want to remember this. Okay. And you want to start stacking up memories. It could be a cabinet you have, and you put this one on the shelf, right? So if you need it in the future, because you will need it in the future, because you will randomly put a bunch of weight on out of nowhere overnight. It'll happen again, or a couple days, it'll go up, and then it'll most likely come back down if there wasn't some huge shift in your behavior. So out of that experience, I want you to realize that weight fluctuations are completely normal. They're hard to explain. Again, if you ever find a good explanation of what can lead to a 3-pound weight gain overnight beyond salt or water weight or just vague stuff, please let me know. But until that moment happens, we just have to understand that weight fluctuates in ways that we can't explain. We don't really have a way to explain it. However, we don't need to. If you'll just recognize that that's a pattern. Randomly you put weight on and randomly you take the weight just comes off. I don't know why. Again, in the short term, weight loss is inconsistent, unpredictable. In the long term, weight loss is very consistent and predictable. And so when the weight goes up 3 and then it goes down 2, 3 the next night, we want to remind ourselves, I want to remember this one. I want to really reinforce this and remember this because you're going to go through this a lot more in the future. And it's how we manage those, when all of a sudden it does jump up a little bit. How do we manage that? Which, by the way, I thought you did great yesterday. I wanted you to know that. So again, to me, that's just more evidence of the growth. And as important as the weight loss is, I think that me being able to see that change in you is even more important because I know it's going to lead to more weight loss. So I just wanted to, I don't know if I even said that yesterday, but I think you really handled that. You just absorbed that so well. You stayed grounded. You were calm. Of course, you can be a little upset. I mean, that's completely normal, but you stayed grounded, and I was really, I think that's a great sign. But now it's nice to see that come down because again, we're looking to create a more accurate reality. And the accurate reality outside of emotions is that weight can fluctuate in strange ways. But what I think you will always notice is that if you zoom out a little bit, even over a week, right? This week, for example, what you'll notice even over a week, if there was no drastic changes in your eating or behavior, that you'll notice that it can jump a little bit and then it'll jump back down. And that's going to start to become the norm for you. And it'll be that process of this is kind of how weight loss happens typically. If you zoom in, it's like, oh shit, now I'm up. Right. And then the weight comes down. And again, the weight loss, when it goes up, it sticks with us more. And so we create an inaccurate reality of what's going on. But what we're looking for is to zoom out and recognize the trends going in the right direction. So what I'm saying in a specific way is you want to have strategies to manage when your weight jumps up a little bit because it's going to, and you handle this beautifully. And so now you get to use this experience though, as just another point that you want to remind yourself of when the weight jumps up. So yeah, this happened before. It's fine. I've gone through the same thing. I went through the same thing. It's like the way to jump. Oh my God. And you freak out. But after you pay attention to the scale regularly and you stay calm, you keep working on that. What eventually starts to happen again, because the longer you do this, you naturally start to be more aware of the trend line of it, And so now but this was long ago when I was losing weight, the way to jump up, it doesn't matter. It'll come back down. Now, again, if the weight jumped up, the first I said, well, hey, what's going on with my behavior? Because if I start all of a sudden, I got carried away with the eating, my weight jumped up, that's how it's because of that. You know what I mean? I go to work on it. But sometimes the weight jumps up and say, I don't know why I did that. And that's going to happen a lot too. And so I got into the point where it's like, oh, it jumped up. Did anything go on? No, I just don't know. And whatever. And I'm at peace. I'll see what happens. I expect it to go down. If it doesn't go down, then I'll just tweak my behavior more. So again, you use this as an opportunity to ground yourself even more. That's so much of what you want to do. And I think this is true for everyone, but especially if you've got a long history of dieting in extreme ways. I think it's extremely important that a core part of your strategy to master your weight is in grounding yourself to being more calm and relaxed. Because what the diet industry is constantly training us to do is to be extremely emotional. That's what the diet industry wants you to do. They want you to get real emotional because when you get emotional, you quit. The diet industry doesn't want you to lose weight, folks. The diet industry is a consumer industry. They want you to be a consumer for the rest of your life. That's why no dieters ever lose weight for long. 95% of dieters put the weight back on. I saw a number yesterday, it was 98%. I don't know, but it's most people don't lose weight on a diet. And it's not because when it's 95% people failing with something, you have to stop taking the blame for it and saying, oh, it's because of me, and start saying it's the strategy. It's the dieting as a concept doesn't work. It's not working for anyone hardly. And so part of the reason dieting, and again, dieting is just an arm of the food industry and the cosmetic industry. And so it's built to fuck with you. I don't know what to tell you. I can't put it any more clear. And so with dieting, you're really always conditioned in subtle and obvious ways to be extremely emotional, because emotional people quit. And that's what they want. They want you to quit they want to take your money, sign you up for the diet, and then they want you to quit and go back to eating the bullshit food. Then they want you to come back to the diet, take your money, then go back to spending your money and eating all the food. That's the diet industry in a nutshell. And so a big part of what you've been conditioned to do when you think about weight is you go into a very emotional state. You start your diets in an extremely emotional state, and you quit your diets in a very emotional state. And what is really lacking from pretty much every single diet is a sense of being grounded and calm and centered. So it's such a key part. I mean, I think that's why in Program Yourself Thin, the hypnosis that's part of the program, it's certainly that the messaging you're getting is very important. But I think what's literally even more important than the messaging with the hypnosis is that every hypnosis session you listen to, and the way the program's set up is every morning you get a 5-minute session, and there's sessions for you to listen to at night. But every day what you're doing is you're relaxing and calming down. And I think that is essential. I think without that, you'll never get good results, because no matter what, no matter how perfect your reading is, no matter how perfect your behavior is, your weight is going to be inconsistent. And so as soon as you hit a blip where the weight goes up randomly, or you stop losing weight, or you start losing weight slower than you expect, it gets you emotional, and you're right on the road to quitting. You could think of like a second the weight goes up, stays the same, or doesn't go as fast as you want. It's like you're standing on the plank, and now it's just a matter of time until you walk off of it, right? And so it's because you get so emotional. You get zoomed into the moment, and that 3-pound weight gain that happened overnight feels catastrophic. It feels like, oh my God, everything I worked for, gone. And we quit. And so we need to be able to pull ourselves back from that, pull ourselves off of the plank. And we do that by grounding and calming ourselves down. It's okay. Weight fluctuates. It's not a big deal. And we do that. And every time that we get validation of that, it goes up 3 pounds. Oh my God. Okay. Calm down, relax. It's done this before, whatever. Step on the scale the next day. Oh, it's back down 2.3 pounds. See? Remember this. Weight's weird. And we remind ourselves of that. We keep building that part of ourselves up. In the language we use, we like the little baby adult now becomes a little bit bigger from this experience, right? Because it becomes one more experience that strengthens it, makes it stronger. So when, again, that weight jumps up again somewhere in the future, I know I've been through this before. No big deal. And that's the mark of experience, by the way. And that's why Program Yourself Thin is so important, I think, because it's a path. It's a path of mastery, which implies that you get better and better at it as you improve and as you practice and as you gain experience and wisdom and strategies and all the rest of it. Whereas diets, there's no path of mastery and wisdom. You start day one doing the thing 100% perfect, and you get to your goal weight doing the exact same shit. There's no growth, there's no evolution, there's no change, there's no learning. And so I think that instantly makes it a bad strategy. So I think the real secret is to learn how to grow and evolve and learn from your mistakes and get better. And again, you will get better and better and better and better and better at this, which means it'll get easier and easier and easier to get the results you want. And you will be able to achieve greater and greater results. That's how things work. When you keep practicing at them, you keep improving and optimizing it. So super proud of you, Katie. I'm super happy for you too. Melancholy Green says, I'm tired of being a dieter. I'm actually excited to hear someone talk about focusing on life rather than the endless yo-yo as the goal. I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, you're in the right spot. And again, I would strongly suggest, if you're new here ever, click the link in my bio or go to programyourselfthin.com and get the free hypnosis session I give you. Watch the video I made, because the main thing you need to do to change your weight is you need to change your mindset. And mindset is a word that it means a lot. And it's hard to explain it right here. So it's like I put free things together for you to experience it. But yeah, the being a dieter is the most tiring thing in the world. Dieting is a psychological operation, a psych op, right? And so it's literally, I'm reading this book, The Beauty Myth. So it's very enlightening because it does talk about the kind of cosmetic beauty industry. And I've never really I don't know why I feel kind of stupid now that I didn't think of this, but I never really thought of like the diet industry as being a branch of the beauty industry. And I know that sounds so silly now that I realize it, but it's very interesting because by putting them together, I'm able to see even more ways that the diet industry is so toxic and evil and intentionally trying to fuck with you and not help you out. I know I say it every day. I hate the diets. They're not there to help you. They don't help you. Diets don't work. They help you lose weight for a little while at best. No one loses weight on a diet long term. Dieters are overweight people. And yet you're trapped in diet mindset where the only way you can think about losing weight short of surgery or injections is dieting. That's how complete the psychological operation has been. And in that sense, it should be studied in terms of persuasion, propaganda, mind control. However, when you're suffering from it, it's literally one of the main sources of misery in your life. And not only because of the physical effects of the weight, but it's the mental, emotional effects and the feeling trapped and feeling powerless and feeling like you don't know what to do, complete and total apathy about your weight. And that's why I'm literally here every day, because I guess in my way, it's kind of fighting that. And yeah. But the dieting thing is just a bummer. It's a bummer. Jody said, great job, Katie. So yeah, everyone's proud for it. Everyone's happy for Katie. That's awesome though. Yep, it was Don. Don's excited. Rocksteady says, I lost 70 pounds, got to goal and back at square one. So trying this as a fresh approach. Great job, Rocksteady. Now, again, I know it hurts. It hurts to lose a bunch of weight and then put it back on. I know that, right? That's literally why I'm doing this. These are the main people I think about. So for you, though, what I would suggest is the mindset piece I would suggest for you is that you frame this as you're better off now, okay? Because you know you can do it, but now you're going to do it in a new way. That's what I would suggest for you. So don't try and do what you did before, okay? Take what you did before and optimize it. And take what you did before and find ways to make it more comfortable for you. And realize that what's more important than losing the weight is doing it in a way that you can sustain. And so the good news, again, you're better off in a lot of ways because you have a belief in your mind that you can do this. But what you've got to fix is the belief in your mind that says, what's the point? We're just going to put the weight back on. You won't if you do it differently, if you do it in a way that really resonates with you. And so I would look and I would start questioning, I lost that weight and then I put it back on. What shifted? What changed? I'd want to understand what you think that was. And then I want to go to work on fixing that. And what I typically hear, and I don't know if this is true for you, what I typically hear in situations like that is, it was too extreme. It was too boring. I got sick of it. I got sick. Something happens and it knocks you off. And it's usually basically that something distracts you or you get sick and you can't keep the same level of intention on there. And, or you lost 70 pounds and you got to goal weight and your motivation disappeared. It's one of those two, and, or both. Okay. But again, getting to goal weight, a lot of people don't believe this, but getting to goal weight is for a lot of people a very devastating experience. And I think part of the reason why, and this is what I'm really, this beauty myth is like, it's like getting punched right between the eyes. It's just, I find it very insightful. And when I start to think about the diet industry in terms of the beauty industry, which I hadn't been doing like a dipshit, I feel very stupid about that. But when you frame it that way, how did 95% of people that get to their goal weight put the weight back on? Right? Because logically that makes zero sense. Right? Because all of you are like, oh, I get to goal weight. Oh my God, fuck, everything's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be amazing if I get there and go, I'm gonna feel amazing. People are gonna love me. I'm gonna work better. I'm gonna make more money. I mean, everything's gonna be great. Right? So if that was true, if getting to our goal weight was like this utopia, this amazing thing, then how would you explain to me that 95% of people put the weight back on? Like, how would you explain that to me? Right? It wouldn't make any sense. Doesn't to me anyways. But I think when I start to see it within the terms of the beauty industry, the diet industry and the beauty industry, I think it starts to make a lot of sense because if you think of like the goal weight as like this beauty standard, but it's an arbitrary one that you can get to, right? So maybe you can't look like some famous model, but you can get to their weight. And you're sold this fairy tale that if you get to this weight, if you're the most beautiful person ever, everything's amazing. But then I think you get to the goal weight and you realize, oh, I don't feel perfect. Oh, I still don't feel beautiful. Because you can never feel beautiful in this society, not for long. And I think a lot of people get to that goal weight and they're met with a cold, hard reality that they still feel shitty. Now, that may sound discouraging to you. And I mean, tough shit. I'd rather you think about it now than do all the work to get there and then experience it. And it just drives home the point that I'm always trying to make to you all, that what you look like is not enough motivation. And I know you think it is. It's an illusion. And if you start to make your weight loss secondary, you can still want to look a certain way. I mean, we're all it's all got value to us. Okay. So I'm not saying get rid of that goal. I'm saying make it secondary, because your entire life you've been conditioned to think that that goal is enough. And it's not. If it was, 95% of people that got to their goal, it wouldn't put it back on if it was this all encompassing, amazing thing. Do you get that? I don't know if people get that or not, because you're so wrapped up in the illusion that it's hard to break free of that. I get it. But reflect on your own time when you lost the weight. Everyone's lost weight mostly that I've ever worked with. At some point, you lost the weight or got close to your goal weight. But I get the advantage of working with those people in real time. Our brain starts to think of things fuzzily. But I notice a lot of people, as they start to get to their goal weight, there's a lot of anxiety. Because again, when you're looking forward to the goal weight, it's like the fairy tale's right in front of you. So you can have this amazing imagination of how it's going to be. And then you get to, I'm here to tell you, you get to your goal weight, and guess what? You still got relationship issues. You still got health issues. You still got emotional issues. You still got financial issues. You still got, all the same shit in your life. It's still there. It doesn't go away. They geez, Jim, this is looking depressing. Well, no, it's depressing when you look at it that way. That's what I'm trying to tell you. If you just are focused on how you look, it is depressing, because you will get to your goal weight and you still will not feel good enough. I promise you, if all you do is just you starve yourself, do crazy shit to get your weight down to a number that's the perfect number, you're still not going to feel most of the time. Now there's an answer, okay? But what's the answer? The answer is that instead of just picking a number because you're going to be the most beautiful person, you start to think, what would be the best version of me? How could I have the happiest quality of life possible? What weight do I want to be at to be the happiest version of me, the best version of me? And when you start to frame it that way, again, your weight's part of that, but it's not the primary part. It's not the only thing. And what happens is we start right today, first day, day one, instead of drastically starving ourselves or changing our eating, we start to do things that make us feel better. And you'll find that the number one thing that impacts how you feel day in and day out, moment to moment, is what you're eating. When you make a healthy food choice, when you drink some water, when you eat some fruit, when you have a salad, you feel better every single time. You feel proud of yourself. You feel lighter. You feel energized. You feel happy. You feel hopeful. You feel positive. And every time you eat bullshit, you feel not great. Now, you get a blip of pleasure. I'm not arguing that. But as soon as that eating is done, the second the eating is done, things feel worse. You feel heavier. You feel frustrated. You feel annoyed. You feel negative. You feel hopeless. Right? And it's this way. So every time you eat something, it's basically a path to go towards happiness or a path to go to unhappiness. And if you can internalize that, you start to realize, well, if I start to choose things that bring me towards happiness, I can boost my happiness immediately while I lose weight as well. And I think when you frame it that way, you set yourself up for way more likely to actually lose the weight, A, but then you set yourself up to stay at that weight. And I think that's the key thing. So again, rock steady. I know you're feeling it. Relax, calm down. I would strongly suggest my session and video, but learn from what happened there and do better this time because of what you've learned. Okay. From your experience, learn from your experience and make adjustments. All right. Kelly says before and after diet pics are a good example of how the industry ties into beauty myth stuff. Yeah. Before pics usually involve dumpy clothes, no makeup, etc. And always sad faces. Yes, exactly. That's right. Yeah, yeah. Slumpy, right? In the shitty posture. They've done that. I'm sure everyone's seen those now. If you haven't, you really should look it up. But I've seen people do like before and after pictures like the same day, right? And so there's a lot of tricks for the before picture. But totally true. Yeah. And so yeah, the diet industry, yeah, realizing the diet industry, and again, I know I keep saying it, but I just, life's funny because I've studied this shit for 30 years, and it's funny when you just miss obvious stuff. It's just a funny thing. But when you start to realize, yeah, the diet industry is just embedded with the beauty myth thing, and it's a myth. It's a myth. And again, it's not a myth that if you lose weight in a certain way, that you'll feel a lot better. But it's the way they frame it is not, because they frame it as you're going to look different. So now everything magically is going to be better in your life because you look better. And I think the faster you get out of that fucking frame, the better, because it's bullshit to a certain degree. It's real and it's bullshit, right? Okay. So it's like, I get it. I get it's real, but the quicker you can get yourself out of that mindset, the better and happier you'll be, I think, but again, that's a decision we all get to make. But I can tell you, I do know weight, I do know. And I can tell you that when it comes to weight, a goal of looking better is almost never enough. And if you don't believe me, are you at your goal weight? And if you're not at your goal weight, then you really can't answer this, right? I mean, so again, I say this all the time, but most people are not really motivated to weigh what they want to weigh. That you're not really motivated to lose weight. You think you're really motivated, but you're not. And that's the core problem you've got to deal with, address first. Because a lot of dieters walking around there thinking, I want to lose weight more than anything in the world, but that's bullshit. And so when you believe you want to lose weight more than anything in the world and you're not, the next belief you start to create is my body's broken. No matter what I do, I can't lose weight. I have never seen that to be true. Personally, in my experience, I've done 6,000 private weight loss sessions. I've been doing this 20 years. What I've found is that people think they're doing everything they can do, but they're not. And once they do different stuff, they start getting different results. That's what I see over and over and over and over again. So I know it can sting a little bit because a lot of people use that idea as a protection, but you're better off ripping that off and saying, oh yeah, I haven't really been. And again, it's not that you don't want to lose weight. You definitely want to lose weight, but you want to keep eating and living the way you're living more than you want to lose weight. It's not a judgment. It's just it's a statement of reality. And there's nothing wrong with this because you got to recognize this before you can actually change it and fix it. But if you're stuck in this dynamic that, you want to lose weight, but you want to keep eating and living more, then you're never going to lose the weight, which is fine, by the way. But at least acknowledge that and say, yeah, I weigh what I weigh, but it's because I like eating and living the way I live. And I'm happy with this. This is what I've chosen, but most people don't frame it that way. They say, I lose weight more than anything in the world and I can't do it. And no matter what I do, I can't lose weight. And this is horrible. And then, and so they're incongruent. They're confused subconsciously. Kelly, wherever you go, whatever you weigh, there you are. That's so true. That's so true. Uncle Green says, my mom's weight issues and limiting beliefs became a part of my own thinking, and I desperately want to separate from it. Any thoughts on how to achieve autonomy when your history is so enmeshed? Yeah, absolutely. And that is the journey for everyone. No one has a different journey than that. Again, now it may be your mom, it may be your dad, it may be an aunt, maybe a sister, it may be the culture. It's always something, though. We have been conditioned and brainwashed to be overweight. Sometimes it's by a parent. Sometimes, again, it's by a sibling, a friend, a worker, coworker, teacher, culture. We're always, though. We get these nonstop messages that trigger us and condition us to be overweight. And so, yes, how do we free ourselves of that? Well, that's what Program Yourself Thin is a core. Again, we follow the weight mastery pyramid: mindset, lifestyle, eating. And so, I will tell you this, it's not enough to be able to identify and say, oh my God, I think this, that came from my mom. That's the wrong thought. That's a limiting belief. That's step number one, awareness, just being aware of what the problem is. But the real solution is not identifying what's wrong. The solution is to step forward in figuring out what's right. And that's what Program Yourself Thin is really designed to do. And understand there's a huge difference there. Because if we just identify what's wrong, we just start to create a vacuum. And we say, oh, that belief's wrong and that belief's wrong. Oh, that's wrong. And that strategy, that's wrong. That's wrong. That's wrong. That's stupid. That's wrong. Okay, well, great. What are we supposed to do? What am I supposed to believe? And that's the real work. And so how do you go about that? I couldn't sit here and articulate it because we're talking about it's like saying like, hey, how do I learn to play the piano? How do I learn to be a carpenter? Well, you got to commit to it. And again, but I give you the first step, I would say, if you're even remotely serious of this, is to click the link in my bio or go to programyourselfthin.com, get the free hypnosis session and watch the video I made for you. It'll kind of break down what we're talking about here in a bit more detail. So if you are even remotely serious, you know what I mean? Like you go check that out. What's up, Just Jade? Just Jade says, what do you think of alternate day fasting? I think in my experience, alternate day fasting is bullshit for most people. That's what I think. Now, there's 8 billion people on the planet. So is it bullshit for everyone? No way. Of course, there's gonna be a couple people that just thrive and love it. And great. So if you want to test out alternate day fasting and you do it and you're like, oh my God, this is amazing. I love not eating every other day. This is so great. Then great, knock yourself out. But if you're like most people, that's not your experience and it won't be. And you will find that every evening before the fast day, you have a high level of anxiety and stress. That's the majority of people that I've talked to that have tried that method. So again, I mean, it's relative. If you love it, you thrive with it, then it's a great strategy. If you dread it and don't like it, then it's a terrible strategy. That's what I'm saying. Like, we can't just judge something on, oh, am I going to lose weight? I mean, listen, losing weight is fucking simple. Like it's the easiest thing in the world to understand. There's a million ways to lose weight. All you need to do is just reduce your calorie consumption. So it's not hard to understand how to do it. It's hard to get yourself to do it consistently. So we can't just look, and this is why dieting makes me crazy, because dieting is really like, it's always on paper. On paper, every diet looks amazing. Oh, I'll just stop eating carbs. I'll just eat meat all day. I'll just eat for 16 hours. I'll eat every other day, whatever. All of these things on paper sound great, and they'll all help you lose weight. However, that doesn't matter. On paper, doesn't matter. It's like what Mike Tyson said, everyone's got a plan until you get punched in the mouth, you know? And so, yeah, your diet sounds great until you let me know how it's going at 3 p.m. on your fast day, the first one. Now let me know how it's going the second one at 3 p.m. And now if you even make it, let me know how it's going next week when some of the excitement's worn off, you know? And for most people, it's a miserable way to live. I would never live that way. But again, you know what I mean? We have to think in more gradient terms. We can't just think simple answers because nothing's simple. Humans are confusing. We're all different, you know? So again, you got to figure out for yourself. But I think for most people, the alternate day fasting is a very extreme strategy that causes a lot of stress and people can't stick to. So again, you decide that. But for everyone else, the secret is to figure out what works for you. Go into your weight mastery asking the question, how can I master my weight? How can I control and live it the way I want to live at in the easiest, most comfortable way possible? That's how you want to approach it. And when you ask that question, you frame it that way, you open your mind up to find those solutions, not just the solutions that make us lose weight fast, the solutions that help us master our weight that are sustainable. Again, you've never even had this idea in your mind because you've been conditioned your whole life by the diet industry, you know? Just Jade says, supposedly you only have to fast until you hit your ideal weight, which I'm not sure how that would work now that I wrote that out. I'm proud of you. I'm very proud of you for that. I cannot tell you the number of arguments I've had that is exactly that. And how, you know what you just did, Just Jade? You broke yourself out of the trance. Again, the funniest thing for me as a hypnotist is when a dieter comes up to me and says, oh, I don't know if I could be hypnotized. Motherfucker, you are straight hypnotized right now. You know, Just Jade was hypnotized 2 minutes ago when she thought that she could just fast her way down to her goal weight and then go back to eating normal. Think about that. And I so appreciate that, Just Jade, because that literally represents all of you dieters. You all think you're going to drastically cut calories out, get to your goal weight, and then you go back to eating pretty much the maintenance. What's maintenance mean? You ever thought about that? What's maintenance mean to you? It's a code word for going back to how I eat normally. And when you step back from that, okay, yeah, cut your calories down and you're going to lose weight, and then bring your calories back up. And what do you think's happening to your weight? Well, I'm just going to adjust, and metabolic adaptation, it's going to just take care of it. I'll just stay at my goal weight for then, even if I eat more calories. Huh? The fuck's that mean? Then why'd you put the weight on in the first place? Your weight's always going to reflect your average calorie consumption. So if you fast and lower your calories by this much and your weight comes down to here, and then you raise your calories up, what do you think your weight's going to do? I'll give you a hint. It's going to go back up. And I it's like so funny to say. I can't tell you the number of times I talk to people about this. And I'm like, no. And it's like, what do you think's going to happen? Because dieters live in this fantasy land that they're going to cut their calories out, get to their goal weight, and then they go back to eating how they ate, and they'll stay at their goal weight. Huh? What's that mean? So I'm joking with you, Jade, but thank you for writing that. Okay. Because you've just said out loud what a lot of people subconsciously are thinking. And this is why. How do you all explain 95% of dieters putting the weight back on after they lose it? No one's ever answered that question, but if you have any theories on that, don't you dare tell me the weight set point. Don't you dare. Weight set point. If weight set point was real, how do you explain people that lose weight and keep it off? LOL. Unclogged Green says, I want peace within myself. My body as it is really gets in the way of that, but also what's going on inside my head and the emotional mental part. Melancholy Green, I hope you go and get that hypnosis session and watch that video. I got a bunch of answers for you. You could have, that's why I try to tell you all, listen, weight loss takes a little while and it takes some effort and it takes some time, but feeling a lot better is one of the fucking easiest things on the planet, especially if you're like a typical American. It's the easiest thing in the world. You could feel light years better right now, today. Make a couple good food choices. Go to bed a little earlier. Drink some fucking water. Go for a walk outside. Sit in a chair and relax for a minute or two. And you will just feel like light years. You'll feel like you're alive for the first time in years. It's not even hard to feel a lot better. Again, weight loss takes a little bit longer. Okay. But you can feel peace within yourself. You could feel, now again, peace within myself. In linguistics, we call this a nominalization. Okay. So I want peace within myself, right? So what this person's done is they've taken peace and they've taken it from being a noun, from a verb, and they've turned into a noun. So they've said, I want peace within myself, which implies that I always want to be on this high level of peace. And it creates this like perfect level of it. And I want to feel peace in myself kind of turns it back into a verb. So it's like, I want to feel peace in myself as a noun. I want it in my body. I want peace in myself. Where are you at, peace? Right? And we disconnect ourselves from our ability to create the peace in ourselves. So if you want to feel peace in yourself, what if you relaxed your shoulders, your chest, your stomach, and your face, and you took a comfortable breath in and slowly let it out? Do you feel a little bit more peace in yourself? You feel a little bit more peaceful? What if you close your eyes for a moment and did the same thing? Do you feel a little more peaceful? You see, it's really easy to feel a little more peaceful. It's really hard to feel at peace. Okay. So again, if we can, this is in Program Yourself, that's the 1% better a day philosophy. It's so easy to feel better, more peaceful, more relaxed, more calm. It's hard to feel calm, peaceful, relaxed. Does that make sense? And the more you start to understand that, the more you realize like every single moment of your life, you can bring yourself over to feeling more of the things you want to feel. You know? And so you have a lot more control and influence than you realize. And you're always separated from it because you always, articulating these ideal states you want to experience, which make it feel really far away. Even to go from like where I'm at now to feel completely at peace feels like 100 miles away. It feels impossible. Wow, fuck that. To feel more peaceful, Oh, wow. Look at that. You know? Yeah, you're welcome. I'm happy to respond to these. I said, thank you for responding to my comments. That's really nice of you. This is what I do. I'm here every day, Monday through Friday, usually around noon Eastern. So anytime you have questions, feel free to pop on here. This is a mission for me. Yeah, Katie's going to have her pleasure meal. That's awesome. I'm happy for you. Yeah, the big voice doesn't have much to say. That's so funny. D says, do you individually plan every pleasure day or just a approximate blueprint? Um, I have a pattern. So it's like my Friday's kind of like half a pleasure day. It's kind of like half clean, half pleasure. But it's very similar. My Fridays week to week are very similar. So I'll usually eat my regular breakfast, I'll have a light lunch, and then I'll have a dinner. I go out. But again, where I go out, what I eat, it's all within a certain pattern. So maybe there's honestly like maybe 8 options. And I kind of know what I'm going to get at each of them. And they all fit within similar categories, of calories and all the rest of it. Saturday, grab my main pleasure meal. It's structured. So it's like I pretty much know I'm going to eat for breakfast, when I'm going to eat it. I won't eat lunch mostly. And then I pretty much know I'm going to have for dinner. So it is structured. Now I'm weird like that. Like I'll just do the same thing every week. I don't care. Now, if I wanted, well, dinner's different each week, but again, different is relative, folks. Most people don't need to have like over a year, 52 different things they're going to do on a pleasure day. Like variety is really kind of an illusion I've found for most people. And even if you feel like you need lots of variety, really, when you boil it down, you don't need that much. So again, I definitely structure each day. I wouldn't say, well, it is planned, I suppose. Planning feels a little more, structured feels a little more loose to me, but again, choose your word however you want. But, so approximate blueprint. Yeah, I would have an approximate one and see where I land with it. That's kind of where I'm at, I would say. Like I would say buckets. Friday night's probably the best example of that. That I have probably eight options, and I get like one sushi. And even if I go to different sushi places, it's pretty similar. That I'll get get the 4 rolls and maybe something else, but it's all pretty similar. And then if I go, to other places, I kind of get the same thing. So it's all in the same ballpark calorically, nutritionally. It's all very in the ballpark. So it all feels the same. Like sometimes when I step out of that, like, oh my God, I don't know, what would a crazy Friday night meal be for me? Well, I'll give you an example because I eat pasta. Now it's an optimized pasta on Saturday night a lot of times, but let's just say, for example, like Friday night, it's like, oh, let's go get ramen. That'll kind of throw me off a little bit, right? Because now I'm eating a lot of noodles, and that's not what I normally eat on Friday nights. What I normally eat is there's more proteiny vegetables, other stuff there. And noodles 2 nights in a row kind of throws me off a little bit. So I don't do that very often. I'm not really answering your question well, but it's I always say, right, hang on loosely. You know that song, Hang On Loosely? I structure loosely. So I have a vague general idea of what I'm going to eat, but they all kind of fall within similar, I don't know what the word would be. I'm thinking demographics, but nutritional demographics, if that's a concept. I don't know if that helps you, D, but give me more specific things if you're right about that. Rocksteady says you're so right about that. Oh my God. Yeah. Well, I'm glad to articulate it for you and feed it back to you because again, I know it can feel like you failed. But failure is only possible when there's a timeline, and if you put 70 pounds on, you say, oh my God, I failed. But if you zoom out and realize that was just the first lap around the track, then it was just a learning phase. That was your freshman year, your junior year, now you're ready to really, oh, I got it now. I've figured out stuff, you can frame it differently. Yeah, Don says, I definitely think our bodies need that little bump in calories every now and then. I do too. And I think the closest I've seen scientifically explaining that really is more the leptin resistance and things like that. But I think just in metaphorically, conceptually, that I think when you let yourself eat the way you want to, which means maybe eating a little bit more, eating more for fun, I think it sends a very comforting message to your body that things are good. And I think when we start to always restrict, I think we create a biophysical reality that holds on to the weight more. I truly believe that. And again, I can't explain it all scientifically, but I've just seen it over and over and over and over again with my clients and myself. So I believe that too. Rocksteady said, when I lost 70 pounds, my weight loss group gave me zero support for maintenance. Yeah. Well, weight loss groups, listen, folks, weight loss, it's right in the words, right? That's why I'm saying your goal is not weight loss. The sooner you cut that shit out, stop saying it. And I'll tell you what your goal is. And I just want to point out before I say it, if you're not here, usually I'm going to tell you what your real goal is. I don't even know you, and I'm going to articulate your goal better than you ever could, ever have, and ever would, unless you heard this. And I want you to realize that as much as you've thought about your weight loss goal is shitty. It's a piece of shit. No good. And I'm going to give you a better one. And you're going to realize instantly, oh, that's way better. That's way more what I actually want. And when I do it, I want you to realize this is just one example that you have been programmed to think like an overweight person, and being a dieter is part of that mindset. And that the reason you struggle with your weight is because you have not learned how to think, live, and eat like a thin and healthy person. You've learned how to think, live, and eat like an overweight person. And part of that is dieting. Okay. So your goal is not to lose weight. And you say, well, huh? Yes, it is. No, it's not. Because which would you choose? If I had two options for you, which would you want? Would you want to lose weight? Or would you want to live at your goal weight for the rest of your life on near autopilot? Which would you pick? One's far superior. And it's so simple. It's just a concept. But you've been deprived of that concept your whole life. You've been fixated and focused and conditioned to obsess on weight loss. And so what you can pretty much best case scenario is you lose the weight and then you put it back on so you can lose it again. And that's what you experience. So again, your goal is not to lose weight. Weight loss is just a phase, folks. It's the first phase. The real goal is to get to your goal weight and then live the rest of your life at your goal weight on near autopilot. Hopefully that should be a paradigm shift for you, because it's a completely different goal. I mean, one goal, weight loss, is running east. One goal is running west. I mean, they're completely opposite. Siren says, you're so right. Thanks for the support. Greetings from Athens. Hey, Greece. Nice. It's cool to get different people. Different countries. Yep. Oops. So I missed any questions on TikTok. Candy says, my weight came back. I'm losing it again. Nice. And again, I mean, I hate to say this if it's nitpicky, but even weight loss is such a shitty framing. And I swear it's intentional. You know, it's like climate change. Just so you know, climate change, I don't care what you think about it all, but climate change was specifically picked because it makes you not think about pollution. Right. So it's like, you know, like the late 80s, you know, we started making lots of headway into fixing pollution. And so they changed up the name of it. You say, oh my, it's a fucking warm day, cold day. Oh, it's climate change bullshit, you know, but because it doesn't make us think about pollution. Pollution's right there in front of your face. It's right smack in the face. So it's a language. So weight loss is the same thing. Are you trying to lose weight? You can't lose weight anyways, folks, just so you know. Technically, you can't lose weight. Linguistically, it's an ill-formed statement. Because if you could lose weight, go ahead and lose weight now. Go ahead, let me see you lose weight. You can't. You can't lose weight because weight is an effect. Cause and effect. Weight loss is an effect. It's a reflection of what you're eating and how you're living. So if you wanted to create weight loss, you can't lose weight. What you can do is you can eat different and you can live different. And then over time, through some magical process that you have no understanding of, your weight goes down. So when we focus on weight loss, it's confusing to our subconscious mind because that's not where our point of control is. We have no control over our weight. You have control over your eating and your lifestyle. And that leads to the effect, the reflection of your weight being different. And you know, I hope that makes sense to you. But that's very satisfying to think of it that way to your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind is very literal. It's just like you can't make money. Making money is another term it's ill-formed semantically. And you can work more, you can earn, you know, provide more value in the world, whatever, and that turns into having more money, right? But you can't make money unless you have a counterfeiting machine. You can't lose weight unless you're willing to chop a leg off. That's a way to lose weight. Okay. But again, it's semantically ill-formed, which means it's confusing to your subconscious mind, which is why I think it's very intentional that that's the phrase that most people think in. So again, Candy, what I would suggest to you is my weight came back. Notice that my weight came back. I'm losing it again. Those two descriptions of weight loss send chills down my spine in a bad way. And this is why I suggest to you that you cut this shit with the weight loss language and you start describing what you're doing in terms of weight mastery. I want to master my weight. Because weight loss, it's just implicit in it is a sense of fear, right? It's literally within the languaging, literally, that you lost something, like you outran it, right? Literally in the language, my weight came back. I outran it, I lost it, and then it found me and came back. And I know you said, Jim, now you're being fucking weird. Fine. But your subconscious mind's very literal. What would you rather do? Would you rather lose weight or would you rather master your weight so you're in complete control of your mindset, lifestyle, and eating so that you could eat exactly the way you needed to live exactly the way you wanted to on autopilot? Which would you pick? One's far superior to the other. I could talk to a person who just lost 500 pounds. I'm still way ahead of you because I'm a master of my weight. I didn't do some drastic weird shit to lose a bunch of weight. I lost 50 pounds. I lived the same way for 30 years. Had one blip 12 years ago, which I learned and became even a bigger master after that. So which would you rather do? Would you rather lose the weight or would you rather master your weight so you could live at your goal weight for the rest of your life on your autopilot? No, you better not rate. I'd rather lose the weight. So Rocksteady says, thank you. I got a chronic illness after COVID, but I'm trying to start walking more and more. Yeah, great job, Rocksteady. And again, so if the chronic illness may have been, again, things happen to us, folks. I mean, I, who am a master of my weight, put 25 pounds on 12 years ago in a couple months. So again, it can happen. Not a big deal. As long as we relax, learn from it, move forward, Yeah, done. Yeah. Also, you think goal weight equals done. Exactly. So true. So true. Rocksteady says my goal weight was BMI goal weight and I looked like I was dying. So I've adjusted my goal weight. Hey, Rocksteady, that's probably the biggest thing you could do. It's funny. I was talking about, I'm going to create a how to choose your goal weight workshop that I'm going to give all of you for free. It's going to be a free thing. And I'm going to let you have access to Gym AI to support you with it as well. But I realized today, I just said this to someone that I was like, it was a blessing from the heavens that I waited on this because I now that I recognize the diet industry and beauty industry are one and the same, I realize that the goal weight that people are thinking of is an illusion. And Rocksteady just kind of reinforced this. The BMI chart, again, I'm not a complete BMI chart hater. And I think within the realm of reality, the BMI chart is one kind of like quantitative way to see things, but it's not perfect. The BMI chart was based on a bunch of white European men. So it's not reflective of all the different types of people in the world. Okay. So, however, I think it's not a bad place to start just to get perspective. But I think within that, you have to realize that there's other factors that should go into you deciding your goal weight. But I'm really happy for you, Rocksteady, that you realize that my perfect weight by the BMI chart was not the perfect weight for me. So I think that's one piece of you being think of yourself like you're coming out of your cocoon as a better version of you because you've got more wisdom from what you went through. And so don't just fucking do what you did last time. Do what you did last time in an evolved, optimized way that works for you and sets you up to do that forever. And I think you're right on that path, apparently, because that changing your goal weight, I think is brilliant. I'm really happy you recognize that. That's always a sign of that's a very important thing. And I find most of you out there have goal weights that don't mean shit to you, is what I find. So great job. You said, I love this morning's hypnosis. Oh, you're welcome, Vicky. That was a good one, right? Yeah, Vicky says, living at your goal weight, weight management, weight mastery. That's the college curriculum. Yeah, PYT. Yes. I love that. And again, that is always the frame I love about Program Yourself Thin is that it really is like college. It's weight mastery college is how I think of it. And there's enough material in there. And that's what I'm always working on is recognizing that, hey, some people want to get an associate, some people want to get a bachelor's, some people want to get graduate, some people want to get a PhD, And so I believe within this whole program, there's enough information to get your PhD. But also it's structured in a way. So if you just want to get your associates and get that level, that's there too. But absolutely Program Yourself Thin, I think, is very unique because it really is set up very much. I model the concept of college. And I think that really appeals to my people. You know what I mean? Like the people that resonate with the program, we're all overthinkers, kind of type A people, just always overthinking, action oriented, want to do things. And those are the people I love working with. I am one of them, but I love working with you all because you're willing to put the work in. You've just never been shown how to do it. You've never, and you beat yourself up because you think, because the diet's told you what to do, that should be enough. And you don't realize all the different things you have never learned or are doing completely wrong. And once you recognize them and start doing them right, you're able to get amazing results. Because again, the overthinking brain you have is not the problem. It's the solution. The brain is like a supercomputer, but you've just never learned how to use it. And you've had all sorts of shitty programs pumped into it. So you're running at hyperspeed shitty programs. So it's giving you shitty results. So as soon as you get good programs to put in there, your big old brain starts spinning those, you start getting amazing results. So that is really the people that end up getting the program. So yeah, I love that framing. Yeah, Jen says maintenance has never addressed diets. Want you to be a repeat customer. Absolutely, Jen. Yeah, absolutely. And again, Program Yourself Thin, day one, we start with maintenance. The whole program's built around maintenance because that's all that matters. That's all that matters. And once you get that, it changes everything. Hey, all right. Katie went down the NLP rabbit hole last night. Super interesting. Yeah, Katie, I would imagine you would absolutely love that. And it's like, it's like metaphorically, it's like, you all use computers all the time, but if you learn coding, you kind of learn the magic behind the thing, right? And so when you learn NLP, you learn the coding behind your behaviors and emotions. So that's a great rabbit hole to go down. Way better than the other one you were going down. I think you'll find it's way more satisfying, which is to say, listen, some of the NLP stuff, it came out of the 70s. Some of it doesn't hold up. Fair enough. But I think conceptually, NLP to me, I have never, and I'll read everything and I'm fine realizing, hey, something doesn't work as well. To me, NLP, the core tenets of it, I literally live my life by. And so I for whatever it's worth, it is rock solid ground in my reality. So I'm really happy for you. And I think you're going to get a lot out of that. Yeah, there you go. Jen says, yeah, I can only fail if I quit. Absolutely. So failure really is only something that you can create if you quit. So definitely true. Yeah, Christina says it's amazing advice. It just clicked. That's awesome. That's what I'm here for. That's what I want to. That my goal here. What makes me different from like 99% of the weight loss world is I'm not just telling you shit. I don't want to just tell you what to eat or what to do. I'm looking to create clicks in your head. That's what I want to do as a hypnotist and as an NLP trainer, as a strategic coach, as a yoga instructor. All the things I want to do for you are to make things click in your head so you think differently. Because once that happens, it changes your world. You know what I mean? And most weight loss is not changing your world. It's just you trying to force yourself to do something you don't want to do. And that's a short-term strategy that does not work well. So awesome. I'm really happy about that. Yeah. Vicky says, what do you recommend as an introduction into NLP? It depends. There's Tony Robbins is an NLP trainer. He rebranded it as neuroassociative conditioning. But he originally was just an NLP trainer. And he actually wrote, oh boy, was it? I'm blanking on the book. I don't know if I have it here. I'm so bad with book titles at this point. His first book, let's just put it that, whatever his first book was, it was very NLP. And that's a very accessible version of NLP, I would say. But if you really want to get into it, you could go and get some Bandler Grinder, Frogs into Princes, I think is really good. Using Your Brain for a Change, I think that's a really good one. Using Your Brain for a Change, I would say is really good. introduction. Okay. It's not everything. And then if you want to go deeper into it, there's a lot of stuff, but I would say those are kind of 3 spots to start with that I would suggest. Who says I put on so much weight and I do need to really get my mind thinking differently. Yeah. Yeah. And again, it feels better. Changing your mind is just essential, because if you don't change your mindset, the weight will just come back on. We always live, up or down to whatever our mindset is to some degree. Lori says, love your content. Listen to your podcast every day on my way to work. Well, thank you, Lori. Appreciate that. That's why I do it. So appreciate that. Melancholy says, I've also thought break is also a painful word for the brain. No wonder we resist breaking a habit. Yeah, break equals pain. Absolutely. Yeah, and Program Yourself Thin. We spent a lot of time talking about habits, and we do not break habits. There's no such thing as breaking habits. Again, that's another semantically ill-formed statement. You don't break habits, you create new habits. And again, that's just one example of you dieters have no idea how to run your mind or how to influence your behavior effectively. And habits are just one more example of that. You try and use willpower to break a habit, fight against a habit, and that doesn't work. It's just to even approach it that way just reveals a complete and total lack of understanding how your mind works neuroscientifically. And so, yeah, you can't break a habit. You can create a new habit. And that makes all the difference in the world. So, yeah, I think you're right on that. Awaken the Giant Within. Yeah, it might be that one. I was thinking it was personal. You know what? His program was Personal Power. I'll listen to that shit so many times. But that was the program. I'm going to look it up real quick. I feel like it had power in the title. But Awaken the Giant, I thought was the second book. Now I don't remember. I should reread. I haven't read a Tony Robbins book in a little while. But he's still great. I love Tony Robbins, but he was even his early work. I'm just a huge fan. Let's see. What are the books? If I see it, I'll know it. I think it's Unlimited Power. Yeah. Yeah, that was 1986. Awaken the Giant was 91. Again, it's great. But Unlimited Power is super duper. It's a very NLP. So that's back when he was really kind of the NLP trainer before he became the Tony Robbins that we all know, who I love. I love Tony Robbins. But I like the NLP, the more pure NLP piece. NLP is the stuff, in my opinion. And again, it gets a bad racket for a bunch of reasons that I think is well deserved. There's a lot of dipshit NLP trainers walking around promising just dumb shit. And I think that they do a lot of damage to the thing, but whatever. Each to their own. Have you ever been to one of his events? It's on my list. I have not been to one of his events, and I don't think I ever will, only because I don't want to get into it, but it's yeah, I got my own. Yeah, but I love his books and I love his Personal Power program. Like I said, I listened to that thing probably 10 times in my life. That was a huge piece of my transformation. And I loved his early books. I can't say I've kept up with a lot of his books, but I love the early ones, and Personal Power was amazing. And I got certified in he offers a strategic coaching certification program, which is amazing. It's so good. And so I'm certified through his organization with his methods as well. And I'm a huge fan because he's a tremendous practitioner. The thing is that, he's a very ambitious, motivated person, financially. And so a lot of his life is built around doing things to make lots and lots of money. So I don't judge it. You don't even teach their own. But it's less about, well, he did the strategic coaching thing, but he's an amazing practitioner. I'll just leave it there. And I think people don't realize that because they get put off a little bit by the package. But anyways, all right. I got to get out of here. So yeah, if you are not in my world, go click the link in my bio, go to programyourselfthin.com, go get the free hypnosis session, watch the video, go check that out. This is something I do every day, Monday through Friday. So feel free to pop in here, ask questions. Let me know how you're doing. Let me know if I can help you. That's why I'm here. And yeah, and then have a super duper weekend, and we'll talk soon. Bye, everyone.